Welcome, welcome everybody to another edition of the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast. And as always, good people, I am in airplane mode. Gang, welcome to the show. Apparently, I am on fall break, so I decided since I have the day off, I would get up in here nice and early and do a stream. But let's be clear, the topic of today's stream is a bit distressing. Many of you may be aware that Anna Kasparian, who is a commentator for the Young Turks, really has pivoted in a reactionary fashion. The Young Turks was one of the most well-known platforms, I guess you would say, on the left, and they've been at it for years. To be honest, I think that whole network has made kind of a reactionary turn. But I think Anna is now officially like no longer even identifying as a leftist. And we got to get divorced, gang. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. Anna Kasparian is one of my favorites. I ain't even gonna hold you. I have a bit of a crush on her. Y'all like, Jay, how are you gonna get divorced? She doesn't even know you exist. That is not the point. That is not the point. Mind your business. Mind your business. Stay up out of mine. Okay. I'm trying to let you in on a little secret. Me and Anna are going through rough times right now, but she got to go. She got to go, gang. I don't know what to tell you. I can't have Anna Kasparian as a celebrity crush, and then she comes in my fantasy imagination to the imaginary Gather Gang cookout, and then she put raisins in a fucking potato salad. And they're gonna be like, Jay, you saw the right-wing turn she made. You saw she was tripping. You saw she started acting crazy. And now you let this bitch come up to the cookout. Of course she was gonna fuck up the potato salad. She made a right-wing turn. Of course she was gonna fuck up so that's it. That's it. I'm done. I can't associate. I can't bring her around my friends. She can't come to the cookout. So we just gotta part ways. We just gotta part ways and be done. It's over. It's Jover. It's Jover. All right, gang, let's get into this story. Let's see what's going on with her. Gang, this is gonna be sad. Let's hang on before we do this. Let's get right real quick. First off, let me see who's here. Sumami is in the house. Appreciate you. Look at the trees. Appreciate you. Sarah's in the house. Appreciate you. Love y'all. Oh, Maya Atkinson is here. Maya probably working. Don't tell nobody Maya's here. Don't tell nobody Maya. But Maya, you HR. How does this work? If Maya, when you be fucking about work, who do they go to? Because I'm pretty sure you're HR. So who do they go to when you doing some shit wrong? Then you don't got to answer that. Calacia, good to see you. Appreciate y'all. All right, look, y'all, we got to get into the mode. You know we got to get into the mode. Losing allies is stressful. Cheers. Get a little whiskey down the gullet. All right, let's go ahead and see what the heck we talking about today.
It's been a while, but something has come to my attention, and I wanted to talk about it. In particular, it's this new Substack article by an individual named Anna Kasparian, and the title of this article is called Independent and Unaligned. You're right, I've changed.
All right. So y'all, this is really like scorched earth. This is her, no, you can't fire me, I quit. Okay. This is her being like, nigga, please, you ain't leaving nobody. I'm walking out. Independent and unaligned. You're right. I've changed. That's like, okay, well, at least we're on the same page about that. At least we're clear about where we're starting from. But look, y'all, that's what I'm saying. It's official. She's not trying to keep it. This is official. She said, I'm independent and unaligned. And yes, I have changed.
And I wanted to talk about this because I've talked about Anna and her, I guess, dabbling with transphobia in the past and whether or not she is doing a grift here or what is going on. And
she's
this
mean,
article that she's written, which is more of like an introduction of what she will be doing in the future, so it's very brief. But it kind of like outlines things.
Sumami said, "Nah, you haven't changed. But you've been like this for a minute. You've been on this path for a whole last minute now. It's been like a good probably what's it been like a year or more. We all seen this train coming.
Silly and predictable way, and I kind of wanted to go through it because I am fascinated by it. So I will be reading.
Oh damn, sir, that sounds serious.
Very short,
hope he's okay.
And responding to each, I guess, point or paragraph that I think is kind of ridiculous. So to begin, independent and unaligned, Anna Kasparian. She writes, after Trump came onto the political scene, and especially after he was elected in 2016, the us versus them mentality immediately took shape. Anyone who refused to resist Trump was seen as a threat to the country, and I was fully on board with that mindset.
Okay, but like, yes. I am so sick of people acting like the divisiveness is the problem. I promise you, y'all. Lots of people in my family, in my community have died. Not a single one of them have died due to divisiveness. Divisiveness is not a fatal illness. I'm really sick of it. And yes, we should have been divisive. Yes, there was a us versus them mentality. These people had just heard all of the terrible things that man said. They knew, people understood his history of racism and bigotry. People knew he was wholly unqualified for the position at the time. So yeah, people were mad as hell. Like those that haven't heard me tell this story, I was in a very privileged position the night Trump was elected because I was with one of my ex-girlfriends and we were at a party and a bunch of people didn't show up. So I ended up being the only guy there. And so I was literally like in the girls' locker room as it went from holy shit, let's celebrate, party intended to remember, party dancing in November. We was with it. We was having a good old time. We was smart, educated women's about to elect the first woman president. And then them numbers started turning. The music stopped. All of a sudden, everybody was on the couch locked in, trying to figure out what happened. And then as it emerged that Trump was really going to take this thing, the pain and the rage filled them. Like they was throwing stuff, they were crying, they were really, and I was like, man, like, yo, women really feel betrayed right now. I mean, a lot of people felt betrayed, let's be clear, but it felt really privileged to like be in a room full of women and see their visceral reaction to the situation. So yeah, it was us versus them. Of course it's us versus them. And it's still us versus them because Trump has managed to just get worse and worse and worse. And yeah, there was a lot of people who fell for the okie doke. Oh, I thought he was going to be different. He was going to shake things up. You know, they forgot that politics was the job description. So they thought it was cute to elect somebody who wasn't a politician because people crap on politicians. But look, yeah, it started right away. And it's still this way. I have no love for Trump supporters, none. Like literally, y'all, it's to the point where like I'll be excited to meet somebody. If I find out they're a Trump supporter, I don't even want to meet them anymore. Like I really just don't care. I don't know what to say to a Trump supporter. They don't belong here. They're a traitor. Yeah, it's us versus. They're literally a traitor to the country. Of course, y'all need to get with. And Anna, if this is your new tip, you're not invited to the cookout either. Like we gonna keep this us versus them thing going because it's always gonna be a us versus them, and you're officially them now. You're with them. We don't want you over here. You're with them. So this is Your Honor. We have mutually decided we have irreconcilable differences. Please get this woman about my house.
I don't have too much of a problem with this in sort of like a broad sense, which is that yes. people contain multitudes. Maybe if someone is a Trump supporter, you shouldn't be immediately angry with them or think ill of them.
Oh, so Sumami, you're going deeper than her recent turn, like vis-a-vis the birthing person's debacle, and saying Kasparian has always been right of center, but she was with the left on certain key issues. So we accepted her and just let her have the platform. And she had the platform, right? She was the Young Turks, so it was just kind of assumed. Very interesting.
That being said, if someone identifies as a Trump supporter, that's probably some signifier that they hold some vile beliefs, and depending on your identity, they could be hostile towards you. So I get having reticence towards that group of people.
Gang, let me be very clear. We don't have enough us versus them. I need to see more divisiveness. People have to understand that this whole problematizing divisiveness has always been a right-wing play. It has always benefited the right. It has always come for the right. And they're the only motherfuckers interested in making divisiveness a national issue. Why? Because they're the vile ones. So when you're vile and you say, well, we all have to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. You can't just cut somebody out of your life for thinking differently, right? We need to all work together. We need to compromise. There's no compromise between me wanting liberation, freedom, and the best things for black people and you being a fucking racist who would take black people's rights from them. There's no fucking compromise. One of us is going to get our way and the other one is not. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure my side wins and your side can go fuck off. I don't see enough divisiveness, I'm telling y'all, because this only works for them. And so what I see is a lot of us, this is what we were talking about. Michael Beverly was talking about this with the slavery apologist, right? Because it's the same thing. Like, they're nice, they're friendly, they speak calmly. So then we start telling them how great they are, how nice it is to talk to them, how fortunate we are to have the opportunity to be in the same room as them and have conversations. Fuck all that. Y'all are terrible. You're a terrible person. And there should be consequences for people being this terrible. If you got Trump supporters in your life and you can go at them, go at them. If you could maintain a relationship with them, but you could call them out on their bullshit, you could throw Trumpist shit in their face and make them feel stupid about it, go for it. But if you can't get through to them, fuck them. And because that's what they need to realize. They need to realize this Trump shit is serious. And if you really going to support him, you are going to pay the consequences. Them consequences should be, yeah, everybody is swiping right. Everybody is swiping left on you on Tinder. You probably don't really notice the difference because they was probably already swiping left on you. But trust us, that's what's happening. You can read it in people's profiles and know for sure that that's what's happening. Yeah, people not inviting you to the cookout. Yeah, people are not asking you to be on their recreation basketball team. Yeah, people are not inviting you over for the Madden party or the football party or the video game party or to play poker or whatever the fuck it is. There are consequences. Most of us take this United States of America seriously. For what it's worth, we're trying to make it the best democracy it could be. You are a motherfucking traitor to this nation. We don't want to have nothing to do with you. People need to face the consequences of being vile human beings. That's why I say there's not enough divisiveness. We are not drawing a hard enough line in the sand.
Which is why it's like this whole idea of like us versus them is and can be a kind of privileged position to be like,
exactly.
Oh, we shouldn't have this us versus them mentality. But sometimes there are a them and they are violent and evil.
Exactly. And also, gang, who the fuck is saying this? Fucking right-wingers? You mean the same motherfuckers in church every Sunday talking about we got to be different from the world and we're at spiritual war with the world and they all want to live in sin, but we're the ones who are holding up the rights. Get the fuck out of here. Now you're going to come talk to me about I'm being too divisive? Motherfucker, you think I'm going to hell? Do you think I'm going to hell as a non-believer? Oh, okay, then you can shut the fuck up about divisiveness.
You should be aware of that and protect yourself.
Yo, I'm chilling. I'm at home. I'm on one today.
Preparing yourself for the bad that they can do to you. So it's like, I don't know why there's automatically seen as coming up with an us versus them is some sort of like sign of bad, or like you're not taking seriously the concerns of others who you might otherwise disagree with, or something like that. Because it's not always just a matter of a disagreement. You know, you don't hear people often talking about an us versus them when it comes to, say, Nazism.
Yeah, I think this is a good point that Sumami makes. I don't expect people to cut off family, but I do expect them to not kowtow when family members say vile shit. Yeah, exactly. Nah, this is what we're dealing with. He's like he said, we don't say there's us versus them when it comes to Nazis. Well, we're dealing with modern day Nazis. We're literally actually dealing with the whole Christian nationalist movement. And everybody that leans right, votes right, supports the right, tolerates the right, enables the right, platforms the right, gives money to the right, they're all helping. They're all helping. So again, unless you really have the courage to look these people in the face, tell them they're vile human beings, and keep it a buck, just don't do it.
Man, I really had an us versus them mentality towards the Nazis. That would be silly, because obviously the Nazis will probably want to kill you.
Yeah.
And maybe you should be upset about that. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah,
I'm a little upset about that.
Exactly.
Okay? I'm going to be a little upset about.
I am a black atheist with a disability who's literally an evolutionary biologist. No, fuck them people. No, them people cannot. Them people getting in power means nothing good for people like me. Absolutely nothing good. Absolutely nothing good. I am their enemy at every step of the way, every stage of the contest, and I'm not dumb enough to forget it. I remind myself every day, these people want nothing good for people like me.
About the wanting to kill me, but moving on. It all felt righteous at first, but eventually the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling shows that he has.
Bitch, what do you think? What do you think this is? Dinner theater? We're dealing with repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. So what? Like it's just so weird that she said it like that. Like that's your complaint. Like it's repetitive and boring. Like sorry, it's not funsies.
It all felt righteous at first, but eventually the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling shows that he has increased his support among Black and Latino voters despite wall-to-wall coverage on his unsavory, racist, or bigoted remarks. Several years of media raising alarm over Trump's threat to democracy has only resulted in a tight presidential race between himself and Kamala Harris.
People are shitty. We know the American electorate is shitty. So what is she trying to say? Like, it's amazing too how she could just put that in a sentence. Polling shows that he has increased his support among Black and Latino voters despite wall-to-wall coverage of his unsavory, racist, or bigoted remarks. So you are aware that his remarks are unsavory, racist, and bigoted. So so there's coons who are self-hating Black people. Yes, there is a big, and do you know why he's increasing his lead amongst Latinos? It isn't for like no random reason. It's because the far right Christian theocrats who want to establish Christian nationalism are making similar conservative appeals to Black and Latino voters who are very religious. And so they're appealing to their conservativeness and their Christianity and getting them to vote their faith like they did with dumbass white people. That's why he's increasing his lead with Black and Latino voters. It has nothing to do with abolishing him of the accusations of bigotry or racism. Matter of fact, it's actually just that he leaned into racism and bigotry with them, and they're stupid enough to go right along with it. So what is she talking about? This is like just it's a really low level analysis, really dumb.
The truth itself might be boring and repetitive, but why would that be a problem? Like the last part that she raises, the fruitlessness of it, that's more interesting.
Yeah, that's more of a point.
But her saying that it's boring and repetitive to call out Trump's racism, etc., is a problem in and of itself.
Yes, like, and even the fruitlessness, it is not our fault that it's fruitless. These motherfuckers don't listen. And you need to call them out for the fact that they never fucking listen. How many times, y'all, because we deal with right-wingers a lot in this community. How many times do you see a fucking debate? The right-winger gets fucking owned and schooled. And then the next time there's a debate on that topic, the same right-winger comes right back spewing the same bullshit. Is it really the fault of the left that the tactic was fruitless? Or is it the fault of these grown-ass motherfuckers who don't realize that they're wrong? Which one is it really? That's the one thing, y'all, where even like as much as I want to criticize us sometimes ourselves for being in these conversations and for being in these debates, at the end of the day, I realize like, yo, we be bringing these people good shit. We be bringing them well-reasoned, well-researched, really good shit. Usually that we get straight from scholars and who are like the top of their fucking field. We bring these motherfuckers the good shit. It goes in one ear, out the fucking other. And they be right back to the same bullshit tomorrow. Whose fault is that?
Like, it could be a problem of society at large, but it also suggests to me that it's like, is Anna saying that it's boring and repetitive, therefore she doesn't want to do it? When it's like, I don't know, sometimes you have to go over things that are boring and repetitive because it's important or factual or truthful. You know, sometimes the truth is not exciting, is what I'm trying to get at. So
most of the time, the truth is not exciting.
But then the question of fruitlessness, I think, is more important, right? Because even though it's true, maybe it has no effect, and therefore you're wasting your time on something that isn't working to convince people. Okay. And then she uses as, I guess, her evidence of it being fruitless.
Cheers, y'all. Exactly, Roar. Exactly.
An increase in support of Black and Latino voters, despite the calling Trump a racist. And to me, it's like, that's not evidence of that like of the lack of the fruit of that kind of argument. There could be many other reasons why Trump has gained the support of those groups that have little to do with.
Also, I don't really know that he has, because, you know, that's one of the big things they're touting about Kamala, is that she's increased her percentage of those voters. So I don't really know if there's just a whole bunch of people that are being added to the Black and Latino voter universe, as we would call it. And that just means they both can tout increases. But nevertheless, I have seen a bunch of coverage of Black and Latino voters, especially conservative ones, who are voting for Trump. And it's basically just Christian nationalism. They want the Christian nationalism too, because they're Christians. So they think they buy into the same thing. And it's the same thing. Like, they have their dumbass mega churches and their dumbass pastors up there spewing conservative bullshit at them every Sunday. And so they go along with it, which is just an indicator to me that it's a bigger problem, and that if we really want to fix our politics, we're gonna have to deal with Christianity. Like, it's literally ruining democracy. So maybe we should try to stop it.
The calling Trump a racist part of it. I mean, I think if it was completely fruitless, Trump would just be like winning completely. I think a lot of people find him unsavory, and that is why he has consistently had a sort of like low approval. She goes on, I can't help but acknowledge that the only thing that was accomplished by resisting Trump was less understanding and more division among Americans. I personally became reluctant to challenge my side or engage with voters who disagreed with me. In turn, I became less knowledgeable about the people and world around me. I saw Republican voters as an evil monolith, and that was a big mistake.
Okay, I like this too. I'm having a good time listening to him and checking up on y'all. Um, this is stated as though it's a bad thing, and I don't know. Like, I think sometimes it's a good thing. Like, um, first off, I don't know about the becoming less knowledgeable about people in the world around you, and saw Republican voters as an evil monolith. Like that, I don't know. To me, that just sounds like a bunch of bullshit. To be honest with you, but part of healthy growth in a particular community is realizing that you don't know everything, and that there's going to be people in your community who are just way ahead of you on certain things. So it's okay if you're initially reluctant to challenge your side, and you ask for more information, or like there's so much that I've learned from people in this community, but it was just because they would say something different, and then rather than challenge them, or you know assume they were wrong, I was like, oh, why do you think that way, or what do you think about this, or where'd you get that from? um and you learn a lot this way. um in reality, like, I'm sorry, I do just blame the other side. At some point, you have to know the difference between right and wrong. And you have to understand when there's a clear distinction where one side may not be perfect, they may not have it all together, they may not have it all figured out, but they're certainly morally upstanding and moving in the right direction. And you have another side that is literally a threat, not just to democracy, but to people's health and safety, to people's rights, um, to sort of a peaceful order, even internationally. Like, we forget how much of a threat the destabilization that would come with the GOP, just how destabilizing that would be to the whole world and our place in it. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna let it keep rolling, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know, this is just weak to me.
So there's a part here where I'm like, okay, so the problem was you, Anna. You perceived people as a monolith rather than, taking them in their nuance.
That's a good
I
point.
take Trump supporters in their nuances, Republicans included. They're full of nuance. Everyone is. But it doesn't mean that they're not evil. They do tons of things that are evil and bigoted towards other people. And it's not like, I guess, engaging in division by calling out the bad shit that they do.
And let me be clear. Let's speak to their nuance. It doesn't matter. If you overlook bigotry just for what's in it for you, that's a bigoted thing to do. So if you're a person who, yeah, well, I know Trump's a bigot, and I know he's a convicted, essayer, and yeah, I know he committed all these felonies, and yeah, I know about January 6th, but I'm gonna vote for him for XYZ reasons. I don't give a fuck what XYZ reasons are. You're a piece of shit. And you're overlooking the fact that this is a terrible person and a terrible human being, and his election would mean really bad things for millions of people, and you don't care because you have some pet issue. I don't give a fuck. You're a piece of shit. And yes, you're putting your pet issue before other people's lives, and people should treat you like that. We should treat you like, oh, you're a selfish piece of shit who doesn't care about anybody else. Yeah, maybe we don't want to maybe we don't want to associate with a person like that. So all these Trump supporters who think that we're gonna overlook these culture war issues, and you're gonna give us some woo-woo about all these other reasons you had for voting for Trump. Ain't nobody hearing that.
Vision. They're literally appointing the judges.
Lay hands on that like button, baby.
is a bad thing.
Appreciate
and it
y'all.
doesn't sow division. I mean, it would sow division by pointing that out, but as much division sowed by pointing that out was caused in them doing it in the first place. It's just so asinine to think that, like, oh, merely pointing out the bad things that someone does is not understanding them and sowing division. No, you need to point that out because it's bad stuff that they're doing. I don't know why this is so complicated. I mean, here's the question that she's not addressing in this whole piece so far, and she probably won't address ever, which is like, are there good things that the Republicans do? What are they? Are there bad things that the Republicans do? What are they? If you're not going to talk about them, what are we doing here? Like, then it just becomes a sort of Dave Rubin circle jerk where you just invite someone on for a dialogue and go, oh, yes, oh, what an interesting thought that you have. Oh, yes. And you're not even, like, engaging with the substance of what they're saying, which is not trying to get to truth, right?
Yeah. And the other thing about this that I think is really interesting is, Anna, hit me with some good shit from the right. Please, we're waiting. Because all of this is woke scalding, right? It's just a bunch of woke scalding. It's just a bunch of, oh, the left is being mean to me. And I listen to you guys. And then I was mean to my friends on the right. I don't want to be mean to right wingers. I want to love my right wing. Okay, love your fucking right wingers. Can you go ahead and hit us with their convincing arguments? Now that you're unaligned and you're free and you've got no labels. Okay, cool. Hit us with the both sides. Because none of this sounds like an actual good case from the right. It just sounds like a bunch of butt hurtness on the left.
Which we're going to see as part of what she's trying to say here. I'm going to try to get to understanding. I'm going to get to the nuance. I'm going to get to the truth. My evolution started in 2022 when I was sexually assaulted by a homeless man in my neighborhood as I was walking my dog. That horrible experience alone didn't change me politically, but the treatment I received from the far left and some progressives after sharing the story did.
Okay, let's first off just say essay is terrible. Really sorry Anna was a victim. Yeah, no jokes. It's just fucking awful. What bothers me about this is that I don't think she's being transparent. I think she is using this story as a motivator to talk about how she changed politically and blaming it on, I guess, what she hears from the far left. Like, to me, what's up with that? Like, if you had certain values and certain principles on certain stances, and something happened to you and you don't like the way people treated you, y'all see what I'm saying? Like, you might be pissed at them, right? But how does that change your values? How does it change your stances? How does it change your principles? Right? It's almost like she's saying, I got attacked. Okay, well, the attack didn't change my politics, but the way, people I was politically aligned with did. That just seems like it wasn't really your politics. It makes it sound like this is really a social thing to you, and it's really about who do you want to be aligned with. And when you didn't like the way people on the left responded to you, you decided fuck the left. But that means it wasn't really about the values and the principles and the policies and the ethics and whatever, the blase and the glaive noise. It wasn't really about that to you. It was really about feeling like part of the community. And when you didn't like the community anymore, you changed your politics. That's what I'm seeing. And I hope people can take that from me in good faith and understand that, sorry, my camera's bugging out. And understand that I'm not trying to in any way belittle her being a victim of an attack. I think that was terrible. I just think we're doing analysis of her political turn, and I don't think that sounds like a good motivation for a political turn.
I often think of my own stances of wanting to abolish the prison system. This is something that I wrote my master's thesis on. And I remember at the time while writing it that I got pushback from some of the more
Thanks,
center to the
PC.
right-leaning people in my program, suggesting that, like, imagine a world in which someone goes and murders your entire family. What would you, Jody, want to do to that person? Implying that, I guess, having that happen to me would render mute all the sort of like nuanced arguments I make towards wanting to abolish the prison system. That, like, you know, once it happens to me, I'll realize that, like, yes, I now have the personal experience. Prisons are justified. Lock those people away. And I always thought to myself that, like, no, I would hope that the arguments that I made in my master's thesis were sufficient enough and created enough willpower within myself that if something so terrible happened to myself, if I had that personal experience, that my arguments would still hold sway, because the
Yeah.
arguments relied on the data and information that was available to me of the negatives of prison far away outweigh the benefits. So I wouldn't just on a whim change my mind because I had something terrible happen to me. The facts and the truth of the matter would still remain. And it remains even in the case of Anna here, even though she pretends that it doesn't. That somehow she politically changed because something terrible happened to her. But that doesn't change the truth of the matter. Terrible things are still going to happen. But, like, the facts remain the same.
Yeah, and he's totally right. This is the other thing I was thinking about when I heard this. It was like, because she has talked about this before, and it very much rings of the I was down with the left, I was down for police reform, I was down to, you know, have a revolution of the justice system until it happened to me. It very much has that. And then again, it is very much feeding into the rhetoric and politics of the right, where it is all about personal experience and creating a boogeyman about crime. And now it really it also feeds into their narrative of the left, right? It feeds into their narrative of people on the left, which is that many of them are educated, sort of ivory tower types who think they have a lot of bright ideas, but don't really, aren't really relatable. And the way it's doing that is because now it's like, oh, if they actually had something happen to them, then they wouldn't be on the left anymore. So it basically feeds into the stereotype of people on the left as snowflakes, right? Because you're all a bunch of snowflakes who nothing bad ever happens to, and if something really happened to you, well, you wouldn't be on the left anymore. So it kind of creates the narrative that people on the left don't have any real resilience.
Nothing really changed, you know? The only thing that changed was her personal feelings. But that's not data, that's not truth.
Will she leave the right if she gets assaulted
what else am I
again?
supposed
Yeah,
to say?
Trees, it doesn't make any
Anna
sense.
does write that it was not the experience itself that changed her politics, but the reaction.
Oh wait,
of
yeah,
others.
especially and then think about it, y'all. The right, really, the right, the right, the right. See, this is where, again, Judge, you got to get this woman out of my house. Because if y'all don't lay hands on the like button, I'm gonna lay hands on her. Because this is some stupid shit. Because this is the type of shit that I'm sorry, like Anna, I'm sorry you were the victim of the attack, but I'm not gonna let you insult me to my face. And this idea that I got assaulted, so now I'm turning to the right who were having this conversation because they elected an attacker, because they elected the man who said you can just grab him by the P word, the man who's an adjudicated attacker. The right who makes a hero of every famous white guy accused of SA. Russell Brand, Andrew Tate, whoever Diddy now, whoever it is, they got a home waiting for all the attackers who want to roll that dice and get a new shot at life. Literally, most of them are beholden to a religion that tells women who are the victims of SA in their marriages that they should stay in those marriages. So look, I'm real sorry you were attacked, but I'm again not gonna let you sit up in my face and then say, but the way the far left responded has you leaning to the right. That's some bullshit.
On the left that changed her politics. But the reaction that she got from people on the left was to the policy prescriptions that she was advocating for after having this experience, as if the experience changed what she thought should be done now that she has had that experience. And again, that does not include the evidence. It was just her experience. But I mean, the same argument I'm making can be made by how she's reacting to the audience that is criticizing her. Like, the mere fact of people criticizing you shouldn't change your opinion on what the facts of the matter are or what the policy prescription should be. And
That's
the
right.
fact that she did change her mind on these issues suggests that it's like she's going on a whim here,
Never really
based
cared.
on her personal feelings, rather than an expression of her trying to get towards some kind of truth. I was told that by publicly sharing what happened to me, I was stigmatizing my unhoused neighbors. Others accused me of feeding into racist tropes because they assumed that my attacker was black, but I had never disclosed the man's race. He was white. Now, I don't know how many people were actually doing this, so
Yeah.
I don't have much to say here. Other than that, I know what's going on here is that there were more nuanced arguments being made against what Anna was saying regarding crime that she is ignoring here. And ignoring because it doesn't make her look good, right? It makes her look good to point out people who say, were implying that she was being racist even though she wasn't talking about race or something. She's characterizing this in a way to make other people look bad, which is indicative to me of a person who's trying to justify her appearance of a right-wing shift, even though, well, she's independent and unaligned. Sorry, I mean, I guess I'm aligning her when she doesn't want to be aligned. But but that's what's going on here. I don't know how much I want to believe that this happened to her. She provides no evidence of this happening to her. So not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some on the left, I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time. These terrible traits that I had associated solely with my political opponents were obviously not exclusive to their tribe. I was stupid for ever thinking that was the case.
All right, so now she's like just super into her attack. And again, it's very weird because first off, I don't know, like he said, I don't know enough to know about what was racist, what could have been seen as stigmatizing homeless people. Maybe just the assertion that the person was homeless. Like, how do you really know this person was homeless? Like, it also, you know, and again, like, I don't want to get into where it's like you're questioning somebody's experience. Like, we obviously want to believe victims, but yeah, I mean, when you include certain details but don't include others, like, you know, people might say things, but the issue I have with this is like, let's just say for the sake of argument, people accuse her of stigmatizing homeless people, and in no way, shape, or form did she really do that. I'll tell you one thing from the way I was brought up by sociologists of race. Let's just say that, because that's how I was taught, and that's where I believe their expertise was, right? And a big part of the thing, and times change, and as they change, so do standards. But the idea then was the way you checked your prejudice or bigotry was, were you mentioning things when they were irrelevant, right? So if you said, some black guy cut me off in traffic today, instead of just some guy cut me off in traffic today, it's like, what does this person being black have to do with the story? Right. And so, maybe that's where people are coming from. I'm not really sure. The race thing, I don't really know. Maybe it's just letting the assumptions be out there, or whatever. But let's just assume that happened and it was totally unfair. Like, she wasn't stigmatizing homeless people in any way, and nothing at all she said was in any way, shape, or form racist. Cool. But it's like, you even have to then say yourself, not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some on the left, I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time. So that was it? That's all it took? It took just a couple and then think about how big that platform is, y'all. Think about how big TYT is. And then she's always on social media, which is cool, but I know you got a lot of followers and like thousands and thousands of people interacting with your posts, your tweets, and the content you make on a daily basis. So a couple of them say something crazy and you're gone? And again, to the right? To the right? What are you expecting to find less cruelty and hypocrisy on the right? Or with centrists? You expect to find less cruelty and hypocrisy with centrists? Where are you going? Like, this is just this to me just like is grift. It just feels like you just want to have your woke scold, why I left the left, let's go get this money, whatever.
Now, what she seems to be implying here is that she received some pushback. She perceives that pushback to be harsh, and she assumed that harshness was something that only the right had.
And now she's going to lean to the right as a result. This is what I'm saying. She's making a good point. She thought hypocrisy and cruelty were exclusive to the right. She realizes there are some hypocrisy and cruelty on the left. So then she leans further into the right. Come on. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Everyone of every stripes be harsh. Being harsh in your condemnation of something is something that I think applies to everyone, but it says nothing about the views you are being harsh in favor of, right? I mean, like, what this shows to me is that the left were, if what she's saying here is true, were harsh towards Anna because they felt she was in some way downplaying the harm of her rhetoric regarding people who are being accused of committing crimes, etc. Right? So it's like, you could be harsh towards her for downplaying something that is very meaningful. That doesn't all of a sudden make you like the right, because the right is also harsh when it comes to immigration, based on no facts other than the feelings that they don't like brown people moving into their neighborhood. Like, these are totally different things to be getting harsh over. The question is, do the people on the right have a reason to be harsh over this? No, because they're fucking lying and it's like nonsensical. Do the people on the left have a reason to be harsh about this? Yes. Because like there is an overzealousness about the prevalence of crime that is not based on the factual evidence that we have. So it's like, those are two different things that should be considered differently. But for her, it's like, oh, the mere emotion of being harsh is similar by both of them. So therefore, they're equally bad. Now, I think you could make the argument that maybe we should be extending more grace to, say, people who are on the left generally when they have bad takes. But I guess
Okay.
Hang on. Hope that
hang on. That's a good point. And we should be talk about speaking from self-interest. We should be more compassionate to anybody who has bad takes, because I spent a lot of time ranting on the internet, and having bad takes is just kind of an occupational hazard. But no, for real, the thing that bothers me about this is, I've been paying a little bit of attention, especially when her birthing person controversy happened. People do extend a lot of grace to Anna Kasparian for having bad takes. That's the thing that's so frustrating about this. People literally just say, Anna, that was a bad take. Here's why that was a bad take. Some other person will jump on, yeah, there was definitely a bad take. Here's some research, or here's some other thing about why it was a bad take. And so this is her not being able to handle people gracefully telling her she has some bad takes. Yeah, there's definitely a problem. Like, I see America as a heavily segregated country. It's just economically segregated. On average, the average white household has 10 times the wealth of the average black household. And so, you're starting at literally comparison of 13,000 versus 130,000. So when you go to live in nice communities with good schools and safe neighborhoods, and same for where you work and all of that stuff, and where you go to church, there's a lot of white people in this country who just don't have any black people in their life right now in 2024. Like, really, they might, or they know of that one family in their church or whatever it is. And yeah, it's crazy that we're not integrated. But part of it is we don't take integration that seriously. And we don't take the economic justice seriously. We have to stop blaming poor people for being trapped in poverty. That's a huge part of it. It's also literally segregated, yeah, in many ways. Yeah, so and you don't get rid of the legacy of slavery and formal segregation and all that type of stuff quickly. So yeah, but I absolutely agree. I think that was one of the best things for my life. On the flip side, well, like, as a black kid, raised in predominantly white schools and stuff like that, was the exposure to people who were different than me was definitely something I benefited a lot from.
Someone like Anna, who has been in the spotlight for a while now, would have more of a backbone to realize that, like, you have so many people talking to you that of course you're going to have people who react more harshly than others, because they have lived experiences that make them more prone to not have that grace towards you. But again, it seems to me that this is more of an excuse generating plan here, right? It's this idea of, like, look, they were mean to me, therefore, even her clarification, some of them were mean to her. So therefore, now she has a reason to see that there's some bad thing happening on the left, that now I'm politically unaligned because of it. When shouldn't you be extending some sort of, like, understanding or sympathy towards these people to sort of understand the truth of why they're upset with you? But of course, no, the sympathy is only towards those on the right. because the people on your side should just always be supportive of you, even when you say bad things. At least that seems to be the argument, or the sort of like
Yes, and this is so I'm so glad he said that. I'm so glad he said that. And when he said that, y'all, he was spending his privilege. He, as a white man, was telling people this is a thing that's only on the right. I love that. Say that shit again.
Should just always be supportive of you, even when you say bad things. The truth of why they're upset with you. But of course, no, the sympathy is only towards those on the right, because the people on your side should just always be supportive of you, even when you say bad things.
The sympathy is always towards those on the right. That's the shit people gotta acknowledge. When they start talking about that divisiveness and let's all be together and let's compromise, they are never talking to right wingers and telling them to stop being punk ass little bitch bigots. Never, not once, never. They don't do that. Never. They're never talking to people on the left and telling them to continue to advocate for the most marginalized people and to continue to fight to change the status quo, because we need to move to never. Nope. They are always talking to people on the left or marginalized people and telling them they need to have more sympathy and compassion for white ring motherfuckers who just simply don't give a fuck about other people. Always. And there's a flip side of that coin. The flip side of that coin is that when they have smoke, the smoke is only for the left. The compassion is always for the right, but the correction is always for the left. It's always the left who's being too divisive. It's always the left who's being too extreme. It's always the left who's being too loud and too emotional and won't stop protesting, right? All that smoke is always for the left. Always. So it's a big like double fuck you to us. And now we're getting that from Anna Kasparian because she is just in line with them.
At least that seems to be the argument, or the sort of like mentality that she has towards people getting mad at her that are arguably on the left, because my guess is these are just people on Twitter yelling at her online, because the people that I saw on the left criticizing her were doing so in a very compassionate and thoughtful manner that she decided not to address at all. That doesn't mean everyone on the left thinks or behaves in the way this small group of lunatics do. Far from it. But it does mean that there are factions and flaws on both sides of the aisle, and no one has a monopoly on truth. I reiterate the same points I made before, which is that the harshness of your reaction has nothing to do with the truth of the matter. And unless she's going to spell out who the lunatics are and what they're specifically saying, then there was the...
And also, like, I'm sorry, but in politics, we do have a monopoly on truth. I'm sorry, like, I'm not again, we're not gonna gaslight around here, dog. Most of the motherfuckers on the right are creationist, full of shit. Most of the motherfuckers on the right are motivated by religion, full of shit. Most of the motherfuckers on the right, a lot of them still are with this rhetoric of Trump lost the goddamn, or Trump won the goddamn 2020 election. They are full of shit. They lie, like, constantly. Like, they lie. Like, I'm sorry. We don't have to have a monopoly on truth. It don't have to go down like that. All they got to do is stop bullshitting. That's all they got to do. When they stop bullshitting, you're right. The truth will be on both sides. It'll be spread all the way out, all that good shit. But as long as the motherfuckers keep on the path they on now, where they literally have to pretend that January 6th was a tourist visit and Trump is not a traitor and the Justice Department is being weaponized and Democrats control the hurricanes. there's only one side that's actually spitting truth. There's only one side that's spitting facts to the people. Sorry, can't have that one either.
Insane reaction of one of my tweets in March 2023. And so here is the tweet. I am a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus,
you know what I'm talking about, PC?
A person who menstruates. How do people not realize?
Oh no, this is it. Hang on.
You could support.
Hang on, we're gonna get into this.
Specifically saying, then there was the insane reaction of one of my tweets in March 2023. And so here is the tweet.
So we've been on this since March of last year, y'all. That's how long we've been on this.
Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, a birthing person, or a person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You could support the transgender community without doing this shit.
Okay, now look, I'm gonna just, for those that don't remember, because it's been a little while, you can see it's March 2023. What I think about this, ain't nobody ever called this bitch none of them. None of them. None of them. None of them. No one has ever referred to her as a person with a uterus, a birthing person, a person who nope, nothing, none of them. And she knows, or should have known, that that is just medical terminology. It's just a thing that if it is used, it's used in a clinical setting, and it is used to be trans inclusive. So when we do something to be trans inclusive, that means your cis ass needs to shut the fuck up and receive the trans inclusive shit. That's what you are obligated to do. That's what all of us are obligated to do, is to be inclusive. And if that means they use some funny medical terminology, just roll with it. Because I'm here to tell you something, Anna. You are, as far as I know, a person with a uterus, a birthing person, and a person who menstruates. So get over it. Now, I've heard of similar arguments about neo-pronouns. So worried about what being trans inclusive is. Has anybody ever asked you to call them a neo-pronoun? Well, no. Then why are we having this conversation? This is, and I think this was the same thing. I don't think anybody has ever called her any of that. And then when she did it, talking about grace, people were just like, nah, Anna, you could do better than that. Nah, Anna, this wasn't a good take. First off, this is just a medical thing. It's used to be trans inclusive. Just let this one go. People provided sources. People were like, hey girl, just let it go. Now, really what she should have done was a whole ass apology. Hey, I'm really sorry. I realized my tweet could have been hurtful to people. I don't really get down like that. You know, people informed me that I was kind of thinking of this out of context. I realized this is no burden to me. Let's keep it moving. Instead, she doubled down and then had the audacity to play the victim. Yeah, that wasn't a good move.
All hell broke loose after I posted those words. Most friends in left-wing media didn't bother reaching out privately to discuss their disagreement with my personal preference. Instead, many self-described socialists took it upon themselves to profit from conflict by publicly attacking me with monetized videos. They all exist in this space where you're making content, and that content gets monetized. But that should have no bearing on the truth or veracity of what they were saying about what Anna had posted. And I think Anna plays this game constantly where she doesn't address any of the criticism that she got for this tweet, which is that who was saying this to her?
Exactly.
Like, honestly, who was saying this to her? No one talks like this.
Exactly.
The only thing that she possibly was responding to was the use of this language in government sort of like programs. And in that case, it makes sense. If, like Anna suggests, that yes, there can be men that do get pregnant, then in government language, you want to say, birthing people, because it's inclusive of both trans men and non-binary people who can also get pregnant. Like, why would that be offensive? It would make sense if it were like someone came to Anna and said, "You, Anna, you're a birthing person."
Right.
But she provided no evidence that
happened. That never happened. Never.
And so people were critical of her, and her response to that was like, take a personal affront to it rather than address or listen to any of that criticism. And
again,
ridiculous.
How right wing to just literally be offended that something that hasn't even taken place, just the mere possibility that has them all up in arms, and they call the people on the left snowflakes. Y'all are literally offended at shit that has not even happened to you.
When you consider that she's trying to dismiss these criticisms by claiming that they were only made so that these people can monetize it on their channels. I made the criticism not because I was getting monetized. Guess what? I'm not. I made the criticism because I think she's wrong. But it's very easy to just, they're just trying to make money. They're the grifters, not me, the innocent, unaligned centrist. They're the ones that want to monetize it. Me, I'm asking for your donations for this new Substack, not because I care about money, not because I want to monetize this strife, because Anna Kasparian, I'm the one who cares about truth, not those people who want to monetize. But me. A smaller leftist YouTube show put out 5 separate videos skewering me about this tweet, while conveniently erasing the advocacy I had done on behalf of the transgender community throughout my career.
Hang on, girl, you ain't done nothing. If a smaller leftist YouTuber could put out 5 videos about you and that just wipes out everything you had done, you need to reevaluate what you thought you had done.
As far as drawing a link between my tweet and trans suicides, which sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debacle. If you're, say, a trans person, which I imagine the person she's referring to is, then this would be very personal to you. And if someone attacks you and your identity, which she's going to claim she didn't. She was so supportive of the transgender community. So supportive. She insulted them and then got mad that people reacted to her insulting them. It was something that doesn't make any sense. Because again, no one was referring to Anna specifically as a birthing person.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? But that is another good point, is that you're treating it like it's a slur then. You're making it like an insult. Why would being called the trans inclusive term be a slur? It's like people who now all of a sudden are offended if you use the word they. It's like they is plural, it's singular, it's inclusive, it's nice. You don't even have to worry. You just, 'cause you meet a new person, just they them. Just go with they until you learn different. It's so easy. It's so beautiful. Oh, it's like one little real convenient word we put up in the English language. So glad we got that they. And all of a sudden people are up in arms. Why? Why are you treating this regular word from the English language like it's a slur all of a sudden? So it's like you're a huge supporter of the trans, just so long as words that apply to trans people don't also apply to you. But as soon as a word that they can also use to describe a trans person applies to you, you are ready to go to war. Why? That's weird. That's weird.
And if that happened, provide evidence, Anna. We're still waiting. But I don't blame a smaller leftist YouTuber from finding. I'm a smaller leftist YouTuber that finds fault in what she said. I made videos about it. I think that she is a reactionary that just doesn't like being told that she's wrong by people she perceives as on her side. It doesn't matter if we're on the same side or not, Anna. If you're wrong, you should be told that you're wrong. That's part of the dialogue you claim you want to create by starting this Substack. TYT's volunteer YouTube chat moderators quit over the tweet, and some reported me to human resources. A contributor even resigned, urged by online mobs and leftists to do so. Curious that not one of those shows hired her after she took their advice. I never apologized for the tweet, and I never will. It seems...
Okay. Now, this is something we definitely had to talk about. This is the epitome of privilege. And this is where certain people live in a sphere that I don't understand. I will never be able to comprehend, and I literally can't imagine. Because I will never be able to offend the people I work with to the level that all my mods are pissed and they quit. People go to HR. Another on-air contributor, Benny. We all fucking love Benny. Fuck with Benny. Benny was ride or die. Benny was a part of your core. Con. And your response is, I haven't apologized and I never will. Yep. You the type to tap dance on the motherfucker's grave. Yep. You live in a world of privilege. I just my black ass just does not understand. Because most of us would be shaking in our boots, we'd be losing sleep. Is HR about to come down on me? Holy shit! Like, I fucked up the whole team. Like, are they about to be mad at me? I'm starting all this fucking controversy. Like, people are blowing up our fuck. Don't even talk about like the shit that was actually going on in the channel, right? All our viewers are fucking pissed. All our social media is fucking blowing up over this shit. People are fucking calling me out. And her response is, I haven't apologized and I never will. I don't get it. I don't know. You might as well be a fucking alien to me, Anna, because we are a different fucking species. I literally, my little limited primate brain cannot even compute how that much privilege works, and how do you wire a brain? Like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. You got to talk to them. Got to talk to them light skinned folk, y'all. I'm being so for real. I've seen the same shit at work, y'all. Where certain people, like, everybody above them is miserable, everybody below them is miserable. Somehow they keep getting away with the same shit. I'm like, how can you be this bad and make everyone around you miserable but not have to change? I don't understand. I don't get it. So this is crazy to me, y'all. You literally let your people go. You lost good people over this shit. And to this day, you can't even offer an apology for the very clearly wrong and stupid things that you said. I don't know, y'all. That's like the limits of my analysis, y'all. Because beyond that is just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's very weird to suggest that. I mean, the implication here is the Young Turks hired her in the first place. Therefore, aren't we so great? Aren't we the good people? And none of those other shows that criticized me, and after she left, none of them hired her. I don't think Benny left, and this is Benny, by the way. I don't think Benny left because she was going to work for other shows. She left knowing she was losing the job because she didn't want to work for a transphobic company, which at this point, more had happened. You know, it wasn't just the tweet. It was the doubling down. It was the arguing with people. It was the transgender sports stuff. It was more than just this silly tweet. And so it's like, yes, people left. People were upset with her. And there was no expectation that somehow these other smaller...
Yeah, and also part of it was, even on the trans issue, like, Jake has always kind of been a fuckface when it comes to trans himself. And on a lot of issues, Anna kind of seemed like she was really more in touch with people, and she was there to like balance Jake out. And so when this happened, it was like literally like, oh, both of your biggest contributors are fucking assholes. We're out.
Shows with less revenue, we're just gonna hire Benny because she took a stand. She took the stand knowing she was gonna get. Well, she took the stand in leaving without the sort of like prospects of a better opportunity. So, I mean, it's just so petty and silly. That whole experience forced me to come to terms with the intolerance on the left, and it allowed me to publicly reject the ideological shackles that kept my world small and less informed.
And again, I'm gonna just hit you with the Uncle Bobby. We will never be first to the top of Mount Tolerance, because we're gonna draw those red lines, and we're gonna stick to those fucking red lines. So you can tap dance and do the backflips and get the gold medal for I will tolerate everyone, and the bigots can come hang out with me. I hope you enjoyed it up there, because when we get up there, we're just gonna toss you off. Bye.
All all worldviews are gonna have harshness, are gonna have intolerance. The reason why you're on the left is because you don't
tolerate the bullshit.
Don't like
exactly.
The things on the right.
Exactly.
The
You're
whole
like,
reason why you have some sort of like ideological bifurcation is because you hold a set of ideas and beliefs that I would hope to be true, and you disagree with this other group. I guess like the question of tolerance is like, how, to what extent do you like offer tolerance to another group of people if those group of people want to say make it impossible for transgender kids to receive proper medication? If they're the type of people that want to institute a Muslim ban and prevent Muslims from entering the country.
Facts.
If they're the type of people who want to defend the statues of Confederates, like Robert E. Lee, who then, when neo-Nazis come to protest the dismantling of those statues, you say that there was good people on that side. Maybe we want to be intolerant to those people. It's almost like there's this like paradox that was created by someone named Karl Popper, where, if you become tolerant of the intolerant, there goes tolerance. What about that, Anna Kasparian? Have you read a fucking book?
I think it's just a platform. And like you said, her appearing to be a leftist on so many issues, and also proclaiming, they like the Young Turks told you every day that they were, the most progressive platform or whatever. So, I think people believe them.
We're almost done here. She goes on. Today, I'm less certain and more curious than I was 4 years ago. I made humiliating mistakes while covering political news because I was previously unwilling to consider or understand the perspective of Americans who vote differently from me. Now, that's just a failing on you. You could have done better. If you're admitting now that you were making mistakes because you're lazy and you just decided not to consider the truth of the matter or the facts, that's on you. But
that's not even what she's doing, though. Like, what she's really doing is something I consider way more humiliating, which is she's throwing all her previous journalistic work under the bus and saying it was all a humiliating mistake because now she's butthurt by the left. So since she doesn't want to be aligned with the left, she's saying all of that work was humiliating, which this is just degrading and really like just not having any integrity at this point.
To me, that actually she was better before, and now she's like playing this like, we don't need to get into fact stuff. We're just in the high minded. We're just at the level of ideas here. We need to have a dialogue about the ideas and never be harsh or mean to anyone, and just constantly talk about these ideas. There's almost like someone who used to work for the Young Turks that left earlier that this sounds like, no?
And I have to say that my brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
I'm hungry for dialogue, a space for in-depth analysis, and a judgment-free zone. That is what I plan to do here. Every week, I will provide subscribers with 2 to 3 written pieces that dig deeper into the big stories of the week with the intention of finding truth rather than promoting a political side. Video posts sharing details on breaking news and political events. A weekly podcast beginning in November that will feature long-form discussions and debates with guests from all walks of life. Engagement with me in the comments section for paid subscribers. Join me and be a part of the dialogue. Blah, blah, blah. The one that I care about the most here is the very first point. 2 to 3 written pieces that dig deeper into big stories of the week with the intention of finding truth rather than promoting a political side. Which suggests to me...
enlightened centrist.
Weren't you supposed to be doing that already?
Weren't you supposed to be doing
like, she's kind of admitted it already in this piece. That before, when she was on the Young Turks and the work that she was doing there for years, she wasn't actually seeking the truth. Well, then what were you doing? Were you being a fraud then? Or were you just so stupid that you thought you were doing the right thing even though you weren't? And it leads me to believe, it's like, okay, if you weren't doing that before, how am I to believe that you're going to be doing this going forward? Because, like, because I feel no, confidence that you're going to be telling the truth after reading this article, since you.
But see, the thing is, first off, you know, at the level of the Young Turks, a lot of that work in terms of the fact finding and story building is being done for them, and they're reporting and then giving their commentary. But the funny thing is, like, for most stories, their commentary was good, and they were responding appropriately to bullshit coming out of the right. So this is really just, you know, kissing the ring of the right, doing the necessary booty licking, letting them know, like, it's her way. It's like her act of contrition, right? It's her Pauline narrative. It's her saying, I used to persecute Christians. That's literally what she's saying, y'all. I used to persecute you right-wing Christians. But I had a personal experience. I had a personal experience of woke. And after my personal experience of woke, I can't do it anymore. Oh, she coming down the aisle, y'all. She's ready to drop a little change in the plate.
Certain things, omit certain things that make you look bad, and your whole argument seems to be.
Sumami, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're literally gonna trip because they use a trans inclusive term, they didn't even use it. But if the prospect of someone someday using a trans inclusive term towards you sends you into a public tizzy all over the social medias, yeah, your allyship is definitely going to be in question.
Like, well, some people on the left were mean to me, and I thought meanness was only associated with the Republicans, so therefore now I think both sides are the same. How is that truth finding rather than promoting a political side? It sounds like you found a new political side, and it's the boring, high-minded, I'm the centrist, I take a look at both sides, and I weigh all the things, and I'm so free of constraints of political dogmatism. I'm so above it all. When you're just a fucking
enlightened centrist, baby.
That's what Dave Rubin does. Let's be real. That is the Dave Rubin thing. It's like, oh, I'm just hearing all these ideas. They're just ideas. Aren't we just talking about ideas here? It's like, why don't we actually talk about the substances of these ideas? Are these ideas true? Are they harmful? What do they mean? Etc. But you're just being like, oh, people were mean to me. Therefore, let's have a dialogue. Let's be part of it. Join me and be part of the dialogue. We're just going to have a conversation. I just want to hear out the Nazis, see how well they're doing. The point of this new project is the pursuit of intellectual freedom and open-mindedness. I want to nurture curiosity without fear of offending the sensibilities of loyal partisans. I reject arguments about the evils of platforming people who are considered too naughty to converse with. I want to facilitate dialogue. I don't know what my political
so what? And she doesn't know how fruitless this is gonna be. She hasn't. Nobody told her how boring, repetitive, and fruitless this exercise in centrism is gonna be. Somebody sent her a MDD debate because that's where she's headed. Basically, let's talk about flat Earth. You know, why not?
Identity or label is, and I'm not even sure I want to be pigeonholed. This is my effort in pursuing extreme honesty and humility in the quest for common ground and truth without the constraints of a tribal identity. I don't know why this like notion of a tribal identity appeals to a lot of centrists. It's like this thing is it's like they feel like they're constrained by a political identity because if they say things that are wrong and people react, people who were ostensibly on their side react to them, that somehow this is because of tribes, you know, when it could just be that the people are reacting to you because you're wrong.
Because you're wrong.
Like yep. I want to really flush that out because a lot of people feel that they can't be wrong, and when people criticize them, they move to the right. This is like the whole notion.
It's crazy, yeah, and it's also weird. It's like they're sort of revealing to you that they've never considered that they might actually be wrong. And then the thing that gets me is there's no concern that they might be wrong. I don't like being wrong. So if someone comes to me and they're like, "Yo, Jay, you were wrong about this," it's like two things. Like one, I want to be easy to correct. Like, oh, my bad. It's like, damn, shit, I was wrong about that. Okay, that's how it is. We need to nurture that in each other. It should be being wrong should be very low stakes. We should all realize we're imperfect. We're smart about some things. We got some blind spots about most things, even the things we know a ton about. Let's hear other people out and be easy to correct. And then the other thing is like, I don't know how to be wrong anymore. And I don't like being wrong to begin with. So I kind of look at it as somebody hooking you up. Like they're like, "Yo, Jay, I'm gonna hook you up real quick. You don't have to be wrong about this anymore." I'm like, damn. That's great. Now I can move forward a little bit more confidently. I was corrected on this thing. So hopefully I remember that. It's like, oh shit, I was wrong about that. That's what I was saying about the community earlier. People in this community have corrected me about a lot of fucking things. They've just been like, "Yo, Jay, you're wrong about this," or I ask people questions. "Yo, I think you know more about this than I do. What's up with that?" You know? It's how we learn from each other. So it's weird to me when I meet people and I'm like, why is it so hard for people to be wrong about stuff? Like, it's weird. Don't be like that, y'all. That's weird to me. Stop being weird. It's like really creepy. You don't realize you could be wrong a lot. Just you're probably wrong. Damn.
Reactionary.
Shit really bothers me.
Is reactionary. She was not a leftist in that sense, where if things personally happened to her, whether it is the assault or the fact that people were mean to her on social media, those personal experiences caused her to react by moving towards the center, then you're not actually engaging in politics on the level of truth and understanding. You're engaging with politics on the level of feelings. And you're reacting to them without a sense of what the truth of the matter is. And I'm not discounting feelings. Obviously, feelings matter. I think having the personal experience of being assaulted matters. It matters to the discussion, but not...
Oh, okay. Now see, here's another ink. That's another very good point, PC, because you did this whole, trans kerfuffle over a year ago. So where's your new pursuit of truth where you come back and you say, yeah, I looked into it and I was wrong about that? That's what I'm saying. There's never going to be any of that. This is just, I think this is her thinking she's clearly leaning to the right. She can't go to the right because she realizes that would just be seen as totally embarrassing and out of character. So she thinks she has enough of a base and a following that she'll become everybody's new favorite centrist. This will get her, hopefully, definitely in the room with a lot of the right wingers she's interested in collabing with. maybe she'll keep around a lot of people on the left who are willing to work with her. She's probably less concerned about that, to be honest. Um, and yeah, this is gonna be the new direction she goes, and hopefully she probably thinking she builds towards what's next for her when inevitably her TYT gig comes to an end. And I just mean that in the sense that pretty much everybody's doing that, right? Anybody who has a big following because of like a paid gig, be it like another big platform or like a network TV type gig or something like that, they're all trying to build something independent so that, you know, they can have a source to maintain the life that they've come accustomed to on their own, if that becomes something they need to do. That's why you see like a lot of podcasters, a lot of podcasts and stuff like that from media figures.
You know,
Yeah,
to the
Brianna
detriment
Joy,
of
great
what the
direction,
facts and
exactly.
evidence actually suggest about the prevalence of crime or about the prevalence of unhoused people or what the true solutions to those problems are. Something which you could address, but instead you're deciding to react to the people who are reacting to you for the solutions that you're suggesting that don't actually make sense, that actually are going to harm marginalized communities. And you think that you know better because you had a personal experience and you're ignoring the data and the evidence, and you're a reactionary. You're a reactionary. You're a conservative. And that's fine. You can be that.
Yep.
And you're not going to be on my political side, but it has nothing to do with tribal identity. It just is what you are, Anna. To sum up, I think centrism is a brain poison. I think this idea that you can be above it, that both sides have equal complaints, and that you're more high-minded and intelligent if you don't pick a side and you're just in dialogue with both, because really the issue is all this fighting between us. I hate that. I hate that position so much. And it seems so...
Okay, so I'm going to just say this, my piece about this. I feel exactly the same way. It's brain poison, brain rot, whatever, however you want to say it. And for me, it's two things that the enlightened centrist does. Number one, basically presumes that everybody else is wrong. You walk into a room with 100 Americans in it, 90 of us have taken a side. And you basically presume, it's just a misunderstanding. And then on top of that, you presume that you know better. You got the solution. We're just going to come together, set our differences aside, be willing to compromise, listen to both sides, and we'll be good to go. You done lost your goddamn mind.
Obviously wrong to me. There isn't a both sides when it comes to, the Holocaust. There is no both sides when it comes to what is happening to the Palestinians right now and that ongoing genocide. It should be obvious. No? I mean, the side that is doing evil there is very clear and apparent. And you sitting there going, well, the people who want to commit the genocide, they have a tribal identity. And the people who are against the genocide, they have a tribal identity. And so therefore, I'm going to be above those constraints and just listen to what both sides have to say. I want to sit there and really listen to what the pro-genocidal people have to say and really just, take it to heart. And the thing is, you can, and I do think it's important, listen to the pro-genocide side, so long as you criticize it. So long as you point out that,
what up, Joe?
Okay, we've listened to it. Here's why they're wrong. Here's why the facts don't line up with their position. And here's why it's actually good to be against genocide. And if you don't follow up with that, having the dialogue is fucking useless. It's not
absolutely
helpful, and it just allows a pro-genocidal person to promote their bullshit opinions to whatever audience you bring to the table. Now, there's a question, is like Anna grifting here? Does she really hold this kind of centrist position? And to me, it's kind of irrelevant. She's going to be doing this harm regardless of whether or not she actually believes in it or not. But she's just falling in a long line of people who are engaging in a reactionary politics because they were called out for some bullshit opinion they had. And rather than actually listen to people calling them out, regardless of how harsh or non-harsh those criticisms were, she has decided that she is no longer politically aligned with the left, whatever the hell that means, because you don't want to be pigeonholed. Well, I'm sorry, I'm pigeonholing you. You're a centrist dipshit. You are a reactionary, and I think you're immoral.
Oh, I'm with it. Yo, that's what I think too. Like, damn, like it's official. Anna Kasparian is officially gone the way of the enlightened centrist, which to me is gone the way of the conservatives, which to me is gone with the wind. So that's it. It's tough one, y'all. Anna Kasparian was I guess honestly, like I'm a person that used to watch TYT a lot, if I'm being honest. And so having this sort of, it's almost like this year, right, where Diddy's going down and maybe Jay-Z, it's like, to be honest with y'all, these are people I was a huge fan of as a child. And I feel like I'm having a similar, don't get to know your heroes type of experience, because, Diddy was a monster, maybe Jay-Z too, allegedly. And Anna Kasparian is a centrist dipshit. Things are not always what they seem, that is for sure. Look, appreciate y'all. This was fun. Like I said, we have a little 2-day little fall break, so I was able to get on here a little early and hang out with y'all. So definitely really surprised people came through. So appreciate y'all. It's good to see everybody. Definitely hit me with the like, the subscribe, leave a comment if you're watching later, all that good YouTube stuff. Appreciate it. We'll be hanging out and gather after this. Otherwise, definitely join the Discord.